Who is guiding you from the higher side of life? Did you know that there are various types of spirit guides willing to help us and support us?
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
This is Angelscapes podcast, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. Hello and welcome to Angelscapes. I'm your guide to soul power living. Joining me tonight is guest Bonnie Page. We're going to have a discussion about the many spiritual guides we all have. Your guides can include your departed loved ones, your angels, or ascended masters. And are you curious about who your spirit team might be? You are in the right place, because Bonnie and I are going to cover all that. Very quickly, I want to tell you Bonnie Page is an evidential medium and intuitive psychic who has been bringing loved ones through with compassion and empathy for over a decade. And we won't go past over a decade because nobody wants to know our age. But she was born into a fourth, generation medium on her mother's side. Taking a drink of water. And
Get a drink, Nance. Get a drink.
I know, it just happens sometimes. So we're going to talk a little bit about Bonnie throughout the show, but let's start with what is a guide and how do you know?
Oh, God bless you, Nancy. What I love to start out with, Nancy, is why I like to talk about guides and angels and higher beings is because I like everyone to know that they are not alone. Sometimes this world, it can seem really lonely, or we're watching the news and we can seem very isolated, right? But if everyone would take some time and learn and to connect to their guides, I swear they would never feel alone, because you always know that someone is watching out for you in some way. I knew that as a very little girl, and I always use that even with my son when he was growing up, Nancy. I'd be like, spirits like Santa Claus, they know when you're bad, when you're good. But it always felt comforting to know that I had a team that was there for me.
Absolutely. The other person, you say you're not alone, you can feel them there, but I have a wonderful experience, and you can learn to speak with them. So you're never alone. There's always somebody who's listening when you start talking. But as you build your intuition, you can start to feel their presence and their response back to you. It's very exciting. But
and the other thing, Nancy, is one of our guides is our own higher self, which is right here within our soul. So if you've ever been shopping or doing something and you're hearing this little voice, it might be your higher self. And I always say the higher self is the very best of you. So, we're all human and we can get in human moments, and then I'll hear that little voice going, well, maybe this happened because of this. So I think a lot of people don't talk about how our higher selves are a part of us.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And they are our beautiful part of our team.
The most powerful partner that we have in our lives is our soul, because our soul is really with us and excited about the life that we're having, but it's also has an eagle eye view and has all that spiritual huzzah, that really cool stuff that spirit can bring in. So your soul, definitely talk to your soul all the time. And I love the idea of taking them shopping, because you'll say, well, should I get these shoes? And they'll say no, and then go, why not? They're so nice. It goes, and then you find the sale rack with the same shoe. Shoes.
I take everybody shopping with me, Nancy. When I'm in and I'm shopping in Macy's and I've got like 8 blouses, I can hear my mom, do you really need all them? So our loved ones are a part of our team too. I mean, they go up to heaven. They can even go
Yeah,
to school to learn how to guide us in the best possible way. And
absolutely.
who loves us, more than our loved ones? I see my mom, my dad up there, and I can hear them at different times. They still have their same personality, so they still guide me that way.
Well, absolutely. And they were been guiding you all along. Now let's talk about, I want to talk about how you know when a guide is near or how to connect with your guide. And you've told some wonderful stories about your development with your guides ever since you were tiny. And I think you talk about animals can be guides too. You talk a little bit about one of your pets.
Absolutely. Especially I have this feeling, or I tell people when they go looking for a puppy or a kitty or an animal, or just an animal that comes to you out of the woods that's attracted to you. A lot of times those are your guides. Those are your animal totems. It's beautiful. I just moved to Tennessee from Massachusetts, but in Massachusetts, I had a bear that would bring her cubs to me all
Oh,
the time and stand 6 feet away from me
oh my
and just
goodness.
kind of lay there and eat some bird food. I mean, I really wanted to go even closer, and I heard, no, 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 Bonnie. And so there was a glass door between us. But she started leaving my yard, and I actually said, wait, could you just turn around and say hello? And she did. She turned around, her
Oh
whole
my
head
goodness.
went like this at me, and then went back in the woods. And she would come
Oh
back,
no.
and I'd be
Oh,
like, nope, the grandkids are coming, and I'd go like this, and that little bear would go back. So animal totems all have meanings, right?
absolutely.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about you, Nancy, but the bears, I see horses in my third eye all the time.
Powerful. Yeah.
Owls, they'll all
Right.
have
Yeah.
a different meaning, and
Mhm.
they'll be attracted to you at different times.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm so with you on that one. And the animal guides, and we could review a little bit from the last episode. We talked about animal guides, and but we have so much more than animal guides. I'm really fascinated to talk about. Well, you talk about angels a lot, but I also want to talk about the ascended masters when it's time to learn something really big, really important. When something in our life is kind of profound.
Because they're masters at what they
Right.
do, right? So
Yeah.
um, before we jump into that, let's tell people how they can build their abilities a little to be able
Absolutely.
to see, hear, and feel their guides. Because some people are more visual, and you might see one of your guides while you're sleeping in your third eye, out the corner of your eye. So clairvoyance.
Yep.
Um, you might feel a hug from an angel, or your mom putting her hand on you. That's clear sentience,
Yeah.
clear
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
And lots of people just have that beautiful gift of clear audience where they're going to hear their guide talking to them. And
Mhm.
even if you hear someone talking to you in your mind and you don't quite know who it is, I mean, it could be a guide trying to get a message to you.
Yeah, yeah, you're not crazy that
You're not
there's another
crazy.
level of intuition coming through. Or claircognizance is I know this, I don't know
I
how I know this.
know. I just know that was
Yeah,
my God.
yeah, and trusting that. Yeah. And then
How
there's
can you, so how can you build that a little? And it's really just about becoming aware that your guides are trying to talk to you, or
right, right.
show you a visual, or make you feel an
Mhm.
emotion, right? They're them
Yeah,
just coming close and blending with you,
yeah,
soul
yeah.
to soul. Have you had any of those experiences, Nancy?
Oh,
I bet you have.
absolutely. Oh, plenty. Oh, plenty. I think my first big experience was when I was 10 years old. I had my baby sister. She was bitten. I was number one. She was number eight. And
Oh.
she, I was 10, and it was her christening, and she was upstairs in the crib sleeping, and then my mom was putting on a big spread downstairs. All the relatives were there. The kids were outside. I wanted to be outside playing with the kids, but mom sent me up to get the baby up. Why she wanted me to get the baby up? Because everyone wanted to see the baby. Change her up and then put her back in her christening gown so everyone could see her really prettied up. And so I did that, and I was coming down the stairs. We had one of those stairs, you come down 5 stairs, and then there's a landing, and then you turn and you come down the rest of the stairs. And I got to the landing and I heard stop, really loud, stop. And I'm like, I knew it was kind of the angels because, I'm going to church and we're talking about angels. And I had heard those voices before. And I sat there, I stood there. I'm gonna listen to the angels, and that was it. And I was standing there, 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 and I said, "How long do you want me to stand here for?" So I closed my eyes, and I imagined a stop sign, yellow, you have red, green, yellow, and the sign, and it was red, and I imagined, so show me the green. I don't know how I knew how to do this. Show me the green when I can go. So it turned yellow, and then it turned
Almost.
green. Turned green. I said, I can go now. So I had adjusted and I finished going down the stairs. And you had to go through the living room where all the company was. And then in the dining room was a whole bank of windows on the side and where you could watch the kids play. I wanted to go out and watch the kids play. So just as I was coming to the dining room with a whole bank of windows, a ball crashed through and there was glass everywhere. Now, it was really scary, and I was kind of amazed that happened, and I was shocked, but then it realized that if I hadn't have stopped, the ball would have hit me and the baby with all the glass. And I didn't tell anybody this story when I was little because no one's going to believe me, but I just promised myself I would always listen to the angels after that.
It's kind of an amazing story, though, that you, as a little girl, had those instincts.
Right.
So
Yeah.
being very sensitive, right?
Yeah, you don't think of yourself as sensitive. You don't, it just comes out of the blue. For me, it came out of the blue, and I think it's like that same way with other people. Things can just kind of come out of the blue, and it's outside of yourself, but it's inside of yourself. And I think learning to listen and learning to trust is probably the big thing, because I heard it clairaudiently, and then I closed my eyes and I made a picture in my head and I asked it to change. You see, so it's not just spirit talks to us through our intuition in many, many different ways, not just.
And it's us communicating back with
Right.
them, because once
Right.
they understand that know that they're trying to talk to you or get a message to you or guide you, and then you acknowledge it. And of course, I know you were a little girl then, but I bet you said, "Oh, thank you," in your heart.
Oh yeah,
You would have got shot
absolutely,
with glass.
absolutely. And,
I,
and people are, the relatives were jumping up and down. Oh my God, you could have been. Oh, thank God. So everyone was thanking God at that point. But what I want to ask you is, when have you, I know you talk to your guides all the time, and you have a whole bunch of guys that we all talk to, loved ones on the other side, and angels, our soul. How do you listen and find your guides when you're in chaos or when there's a lot of tumultuous stuff going on? Maybe you have to make a decision and there's a lot of emotions going on. What are the steps that you take?
I'll tell you what Spirit taught me whenever I'm frazzled like that. They're like, stop, take a deep breath, calm yourself. It's almost like slow down. And if I don't listen to them telling me to slow down, I'll hurt my finger or something, or I'll drop something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I know when they're like, stop, you gotta stop rushing. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to stop rushing through life. And I think we have to bring them into our lives a little bit more.
Yeah. So, yes, we do. We have to bring them in very slowly or methodically or on purpose. Take a break. Just take a break. It's like, I'm not talking to my guides, and recognize that.
And so the best thing that if someone wants to know who one of their guides are or all of their guides, really there's some ways to do that, and that is quieting that mind. It is through meditation. You can do a meditation. There's all kinds of meditations out there. Come meet your guides. And you can sit there and just quiet your mind and start seeing how you're receiving information, whether it's seeing, hearing, or feeling. Some people are very good at automatic writing, Nancy, and I love automatic writing because I get a whole letter in the end. And for the viewers that are like, what's automatic writing? You sit there with a pen and paper, just like this. I actually write Dear Bonnie, and I quiet my mind and I let my hand move.
Oh, okay.
And at the end, you can have a whole message. I've had a message from God. I've had a message from Jesus. I've had messages from my loved ones.
Oh, that's great.
So
Yeah.
automatic writing, meditation, and another way that you connect with guides is during your dream time, right? When the
Yep.
veil is finished, you're sleeping, and again, you're calm. You're calm. The veil is there, it's thinning, you're in that beautiful sleep, that deep sleep, and they can bring through. You can either see them, hear them, feel them, and
Mhm.
that's great ways to meet your guides.
Absolutely.
But I want to tell you, it's always good to have an intention, Nancy, an intention to meet your guides, because that's what it takes. It takes intention, and then it takes action, right? So when I hear something in my mind, or you did, if you
Mhm.
didn't listen to that, look what have could have happened, could
Yeah.
have happened. But
Yeah.
you did take the time to listen to what you were receiving,
Absolutely.
and you were patient, and you asked, so you set that intention. Okay, let me know when it's safe to go. When you want me to go, let me go.
Mhm.
So you actually worked with your guides, and that's really what we've got to learn to do. But you can also connect with your guides through things like a pendulum, like ask a guide to come in.
Mhm.
Your guides are always around you, or your ascended masters, or your ancestors, right? Your angels, Jesus. If you want Jesus to
Yeah.
come visit you, set that intention. And I'll tell you, I even have Jesus cards right here.
Oh,
So oracle decks work as well. I
they
have
do. Yeah.
angel decks here. I have soul decks here. It can even be tarot decks, because it's what you're setting your intention for. So
Beautiful.
sometimes, Nancy, when I want a message for myself, I'll quiet my mind and I'll say, what does my soul need to know? And I'll pull 3 cards. Works every time.
Yeah, it does. I and any deck at all. I wanted to ask you before we go any further, just to touch base with who where you come from, how people can get a hold of you. It's you have several books out, Ask the Psychic Medium or Ask the Medium Next Door, and they're bestsellers. And you also have another one, Ask the Psychic. Is that the column that you write? It's at the Herald has it.
Column is Ask the Psychic, and I'm a columnist for the Boston Herald, and my column has actually been in the paper, in different papers, for like the last 7 years, believe it or not. So people are interested in learning more about the metaphysical world and why things happened, and knowing their team and other things like that.
Yeah.
And then the last book I just wrote is called All with God, Jesus, and the Angels. And that
Right.
kind of came about from someone saying, what kind of medium are you? Kind of like in a way like that. And I'm like, I work for God. Because when you start feeling the beautiful energy that is around each and every one of us, and you know that you're not alone, and you know that God, Jesus, the angels, whoever you
Right.
relate to,
Right.
is going to be attracted to you. You know, there's joy guides and angels that just want to come in and make you laugh and want you to do something fun. There's specialty guides where if you're writing a book or you're learning Zumba, they're going to come in. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If they've been good at it before, they're going to help you with that. People wonder how doctors, you know, come up with these new inventions of healing people. Well, they're being helped from people in the spirit world, doctors that have done it already, and they're on the higher side of life, and they're going to help the newbies down here learning, right? So always when you get stuck, or even if you feel alone, call in your guides and your
Absolutely.
angels. They love to be
Yeah.
asked in. They love it. And
They
then
do.
find which way works best for you so that you know how to communicate best
Yeah.
with them.
Absolutely. So, what? Just before we forget to say, how do people get a hold of you? Um,
BonniePageMedium.com, everything's on there. That's my website.
Beautiful.
Telephone's on there. I'm all over the place. Everything's Medium, Bonnie Page, so Facebook.
Okay, so we can look at Facebook, you can look at Instagram, and all that. That's true.
Everywhere, yeah.
Good, good, good. Yeah, because you're very much available, even though you moved to Tennessee. We miss you here on the East Coast, but you are very much available on Zoom and classes, and sometimes you come back to New England, and so keep out an eye out for Bonnie. She
I'm coming back in October to Massachusetts, but I am excited to bring what we do, Nancy, to Tennessee as well. I'm kind of excited with that. And so, yeah, hopefully, but Zoom's all over the place. You know, I've been doing even in different countries on Zoom, right? So
Yeah.
it works well. And why? Because it's
Yeah.
all energy.
Well, yeah, of course. You know, I just am excited for people to know where you are. You're not just a talking head. You're available and reachable,
I work
and
every day. I work every day. And I love what I do. Just like Nancy,
yeah,
we love what we do. We love sharing what we do. And we love talking to ancestors because we both do the Akashic records, right, Nancy?
yeah,
So we bring those
absolutely.
ancestors who are your
And
guides as
yeah,
well.
yeah. There's a whole different set of heavenly guidance from the Akashic realm. So they're all
Much higher. So
yeah,
it's so amazing when you learn to tap in your own way to connect with your
yeah.
guides.
You're good.
And so
Yeah.
just to do that, just start a little practice today if you can. Make a little altar, put a little angel next to you, some crystals, get some deck of angel cards or whatever cards you prefer, and just make time for your guides because they're always there.
They're always
They
there.
really they really are. And animal totems, you know, they're going to come to you at different times, but your past animals can be your guides as well. When I'm sleeping, I'll see my Great Dane, my Golden Retriever, and my Shepherd all together standing at the beginning of the driveway, and they'll say to me, "We're still protecting you."
Even in Tennessee, they followed you all the way to
They
Tennessee.
they followed me. I'm like, ah, yeah. It's so amazing. And just remember, everyone, everything is meant to be. Whether something's hard to get through right now, it's meant to be, and it's meant to teach us all lessons. So when you can learn to take that deep breath and go with the flow through that lesson, it's going to be easier for you. And then when you call in your guides, they're there for that support. So don't forget that you have a whole support system that might not be, well, they might be all sitting in your living room, right, Nancy?
It could be. Don't forget the guardian angel.
Guardian angel, everybody starts with a guardian angel, and when you go home, your guardian angel is there to meet you. And you know, our spirit guides, you know, we have a blueprint. So before we ever come down here, we sit with guides and we make out this beautiful plan of what our soul would like to experience. What you everyone maybe needs to remember sometimes though is we have God's free will, right, Nancy? So our guides are there to guide and protect us, but we still have our own free will.
Well, if you don't have to ask, I mean, they're not going to butt in ski unless you invite them in and ask. But and if you can choose to go it on your own, I have heard plenty of stories of intervention where the angels or the guides have intervened, but mostly they do let you do your thing because we're here to learn and grow, and we're not going to do it if we're constantly being intervened. But people, the most frequently asked questions is, how do I know it's my guidance versus me thinking stuff up? And that is so many different ways to check in. Is this your guide? To test, is this my guide or is this me?
One thing,
Yes.
ask your guide something that you don't know.
Yeah,
First of all, you can say, oh, who am I speaking with?
absolutely.
And give them a minute. But if you're just hearing stuff or you're like, oh, is that just me? Oh, I'm just making that up in my head. Ask your guide something you wouldn't know and then wait for the answer. Because that's real fun too, because that's working with them.
Yes, that's working with them. And when you ask them, you're kind of testing them, tell me something I don't know, and then I'll find out later if it's true or not. But it's
They don't
also,
Do you have a different way, Nancy?
I think that's one of the ways I use the power of three. To me, if I am trying to understand something, I really want guidance and I really want it to go a certain direction. So I'm invested in how it's going to move. And the guides maybe not so much on for that. I ask for show me 3 times. And if I hear it 3 different times, 3 different ways, and also bring information so that I can wrap my head around it, I'm not asking for proof. I'm just asking for action to take that makes sense to me in my heart. So I'll hang out and wait for that series of 3 to come through, and they do show me 3 different ways.
And so Nancy's setting an intention too, an intention.
Yes.
She's asking, she's taken action, and
Right.
then they're delivering. Maybe you get up and you feel lonely one day, and you open a drawer and there's a white feather. I mean, some
Yeah.
are just no denying.
They're
Hey,
just their conversations. It's just like, oh, here I am, and then it's lovely. Sometimes when you have to make a decision, do I buy this car or do I fix my car? I'll ask my guides, and then of course my mind goes blank, like I got nothing. And so I will pump the well a little bit by imagining. I'll use my imagination to say, you know what, I really want that blue car. So I'm going to imagine myself buying that blue car. And my guides will work with my imagination. And then all of a sudden, the blue car doesn't feel good. Or in my imagination, I put a pile of money in the passenger seat, roll down the window. And if I'm driving the car, if the money flies out the window, it's not the car for me. Or I just like I use that stoplight, red, yellow, green. I use images like that. And when I'm with the guides, they will adjust the images. No matter what I do, they'll put the images in a certain order. So that's one way of using my imagination and asking my guides to adjust the imagination. It's like this commercial. It was a long time since I've seen this commercial, and so this couple's trying to figure out where they should go on their honeymoon. And then they would say, well, let's go to a yurt. And then they see a llama eating the yurt. And then, well, let's go bungee jumping. And then they see the bungee. So in their imagining their perfect honeymoon, their imaginations were showing them, no, not so much, not this. And the guides will work with you, at least with me. They work with me.
And just remember, everyone, your gut feeling that you have right here at the top of your solar plexus, that's a great
Oh, yeah.
guide as well. Like your guide can give you that feeling of, oh no, that's not going to be good.
Exactly.
Or yes, You know, I always say, ask for that, some kind of a sign. And if one comes and it makes you all joyous and happy, you're like, yes, I know I'm on the right path. But
Mhm.
if you get this feeling like, oh, I don't know about that, it's probably not, right, Nan?
Yeah. Or sometimes when it's something that you're afraid of, you have a lot of concerns, but they're still encouraging you to go for it anyway. You step back and you say to them, I'm not feeling it. I'm afraid of it. I can see all the things happening to it. Show me more. Or help me, I'll find something that anchors me into this. If this is where you want me to go for my highest and best, um, work with me on it, and they'll
I
work with
always
you.
say fear is the thing that holds you off your path,
It
and faith
can,
and love
yeah,
pushes you
mm,
forward. So
yeah,
sometimes our fear is just trying to keep us safe.
exactly,
But
and
that's when you want to go inside and ask for more.
exactly,
Ask, ask your guides. And
exactly.
I have to tell you, this little pendulum right here, the other day, I got off the phone with someone and I asked the pendulum a question and then I put it down and you get a yes or a no. I know my yes or no if you've worked with pendulums. And it was like, no, no, no. And I said, I got that. I mean, that was a strong no. Somebody is really whipping that around for me. So we are gonna ask you to have some fun with this too, right? Because your guides want to have some fun with you. They want to be
Yeah.
there with you. They want to support you. Um, and just don't think of them as far away. Think of them as maybe sitting right next to you.
Sometimes this is what I do that you reminded me of. The guides are right there next to you. They're right in your, they're under your heart. They're right there sitting. But what I do when part of the setting the intention and asking is I'll take my pessimism, my fear, my critic, and I'll ask them to sit on my left shoulder and and I'll ask that peanut gallery to just be quiet for a little bit. And then I'll ask my sacred witness to sit on my right shoulder. And then I'll say, I'm going to go through the day and just watch and listen. So that inner conflict is just quiet. And then I can have the experience of the guidance coming through to me without running it through that skeptical filter. Oh, we have to have discernment. I'm not saying just blindly go about the thing, but the fear and the I want to keep myself safe, or this can't be true. There's no way that this could be true, can be suspended for a little bit so you can get more information from your higher
Sometimes
self.
it's good to just take a time out, especially if you have
Yes.
two paths. Take a time out.
Yeah.
And again, it starts from the beginning of this conversation where the guides are like, stop rushing through life. Like,
Yeah.
pay attention to those gut feelings or, the signs from your gut.
Exactly. If you feel like, as a matter of fact, if you feel like you're rushing through something and you have to make a decision, you can say stop. I don't know. I don't know. I can't hear it. But I know that there is an important thing about to happen. I need to make a decision. You can ask for 10 minutes or you can ask for a couple of days to, and they'll open the door for you. Even if somebody else is pressuring you, you can ask them to help you open the door so you have a chance to breathe and make the best decision possible. They are protectors as well. Um, and if you ask for their help, they'll show up in the darndest ways to protect you.
With me, Nancy, I remember one time, I'm very clairvoyant, so I see. I have all of them, but when I was 12, I got off the bus and I'm running through this long driveway that we had, and I see a big Native American man sitting on my porch of my house. And I remember going, oh, and my mom goes, it's okay. He's just one of your guides and he waits for you to get off the bus every day.
Oh,
But
you
my
were
mom could see him and
oh,
know that he was there
kidding.
every day,
Oh,
which
that's
I just
wonderful.
love. And so she always just comforted me that way. But I could see him and
Beautiful.
I'm like, okay, do you know I still see him to this day?
I love it. I
So,
love it.
yeah.
You know, I have I have a Native American guy that comes in and out, And I don't know if he's is indigenous anyway. So he gave me his name once, and I just didn't understand this name at all. So I said, I must have made it up. So the name was Auth. I've never heard that word before. So I said, okay, I'll take it. We'll just work with it. And over the years, it kind of unfolded. Every once in a while, I'll check in and say, are you still there? But so I found out a few years later, after getting the name, that it's an old world name for a tree. I also had the image of a person inside of a tree. So it's a hawthorn tree, and that the spirit that lays within this, I think it's hawthorn tree, that is inside this tree is also often depicted as a man within the tree. So I said, okay, we're going with this. We're building on it. It's gonna be a long time, but we're building on it. And then one day, years later, I was in a town giving readings, and I was going home, and I was lost, and I was in a bad part of that town. And I said, well, that's the wrong turn. And I turned around, and I was kind of sitting in the parking lot trying to get my head together. And right in front of me was this big sign. It said Auth Plumbing, Auth Plumbing. We've got you in our hands.
And you knew I'm okay.
I'm okay. I'm okay. So it's
I bet everyone joining us, listening to this, has a story of their own where their guides, angels, loved ones, ancestors, everyone that can be your guides, have shown them that they were there at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
I was on a plane once to Hawaii, and I only had one son, but me and my husband, it was more of a business trip for me back then. But they had to de-ice the plane, and I was afraid. And then we were actually in the air, and all the lights started going off. Like the captain came down the middle of the plane and looked at the and this lady next to me was going to hyperventilate, and all of a sudden I saw two special lights that just went blink blink for me, and I said to her, it's okay, everything's okay, you're fine. And I went back to reading my book, and it was. But I knew those special two lights that made me go, oh, no, and they said, it's fine. Now when I fly, though, it's really funny because I'll have my eyes closed, and I'll see my dad come up riding on his horse. And I went, oh, Dad, you're flying with me today. So they let you know that they are there whenever they can. And then if you can just always be thankful that your guides are with you. They just love that. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for guiding me.
They do. I'll tell you another story. Speaking of being thankful, I went camping with my kids. They were tiny. They were I don't know, 6 and 8 maybe. So they were little, and I was on my own by myself, and it was a long drive. What?
I said, you're brave.
I know. The camping in a tent and a little lantern. So I was it's time to break the tent down and pack the car, and I'm trying to keep the kids in tow while I'm packing and bringing the tent down, and I'm trying to say, how much you help me with this? How much help me? And it didn't work. Anyway, while I was doing that and they ran off with some other kids, I just felt that this big dog, like a wolf, but it wasn't a wolf, was kind of watching me, and I was like, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look. I'm just gonna take this tent down. And then finally I looked, and it wasn't there. But then when I started doing the tent down, I felt it there again, and I went, oh, there's something here that for me. But it was a lot of it was a big hairy thing, and so I just imagined, I patted on the head, nice dog, and I got the car all packed, and I finally hustled the kids into the car. We were driving down the road. Now this is Sunday, late afternoon. What's open on Sunday? My car lights go on. The whole car starts smelling. I can't go much farther, and I just said, I got to pull over this exit. And I turned and I said, there's nothing going to be open. And I just kept driving, and I got this sense that I'm just going to pull into that gas station over there because it looked like it had a repair shop attached to it. And I just pulled in, and I got out. It looked like it was closed, but I pounded on the door anyway. This guy came out, big, huge beard, big hair, and I see him with the kids in the car, and I'm going, my car is dead. And he could smell the smell. He goes, I'll take care of you.
Look at that, Nancy.
Do you? It's right. It was just amazing, and he got the car fixed. He took my credit card, didn't charge me what he could have, and
And was he really a man or an angel or
I
stepping
wasn't
in a
gonna
little bit,
look. I wasn't gonna.
right? Didn't
But
take
yes,
time
I
to
felt
open up
very
Sunday.
protected and guided. It was a U joint. I'll never forget that. That just kind of blew up in my and but he was very kind, very calm, and he didn't look like a guy who would be that way. Just it was totally
Yeah,
like, but he looked like the big husky dog that I was seeing
yeah, that
the
you
whole
were
time.
seeing earlier.
So I had confidence in asking him to help me because I had already seen him in the form of a dog, if that makes any sense to you.
Amazing. It
It
makes
was weird.
sense to me. I think that, your viewers, they're probably watching this. They're probably spiritual or want to know more about spiritual things, right? Metaphysical things. There's so much that can happen. I mean, just
Exactly.
amazing,
Yeah,
Victoria.
yeah. I love telling stories. I think that's a good way to teach. But I also feel like we can fight this uphill or we can simply lay it down and ask. Um, and then wait it out till the answer becomes clear or till the guidance becomes clear. Learning to listen intuitively or learning to take the signs in your life and believe them takes time and it takes practice. And sometimes you'll get it right and sometimes you'll get it wrong. But mostly, as you more you practice, the more confident you'll feel in the guidance and you'll recognize the feeling that you get when you're connected to your guide versus the feeling you get when you're doing it all by yourself. Does that make sense?
Just remember, there are tools like an oracle deck. Your angels, your guides know how to make you pull the right card. Um, Archangel Michael worked with me for 2 days straight when I went and took an angel class, and then I really wanted to know, like, how do I pull a card just for that person so I can actually help them. And he worked with me for 2 days. I used to shuffle and he used to go, it's on your thumb, it's on your thumb. And then after a while, I just knew when it was my card. But he worked with me for such a long time, and I still see him. I still see Archangel Michael
Oh
all
yeah,
the time.
he's
So
my best bud. Yeah.
build your relationships with your guides, and you might not always get a name, or you might get a little bit of a name that doesn't sound like anything, but that's okay. That's communication for you. So just know that if there's a certain feeling or because a lot of people say, I just want to know who my guide is and I just want to know their name. You have so many guides, and
Yeah.
sometimes they tell me, you know what, we'll give you a name,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we're kind of giving you a name because you want to have a name. They tell me that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. All right.
So they know how to work with us.
It's signs. It's they know how to work with us. They know how to talk to us in all the different ways we need. That we're capable of listening or not capable of listening. They challenge us to push a little bit further, and it's an amazing process. It's a relationship, just like any relationship that you're learning. Who is this person? How can I trust them? Um, how do they talk? What's their personality like? And and you need to show up for them too, so that they can
Exactly.
get
So
get more clear with you. It's totally, but it's worth having that relationship. And like I said before, the most powerful ally that we have is our soul, is our higher self, who's connected to all of the guidance, all of the ascended masters and teachers.
the
Yeah,
web that
all of them.
we're a
Yeah,
part of.
exactly.
So just know, yeah, you don't have to do life all on your own without feeling like, you're
Right.
not supported and you're not loved. Because you are. You're so loved and supported from everybody in heaven and in that web. I mean, they love helping you. Everyone in heaven is trying to support you. They're for you. They're not against you. So when world gets tough and you've built up this relationship and they can give you a sign and it's a sigh of relief. Oh, things aren't meant to be perfect here, but you are very supported.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you
So
make a
light
little
a candle, make a little,
other thing, yeah,
right? A little mantle thing, put special things on it, put pictures on it if you want to call in a loved one. And then try that nice quiet meditating.
absolutely. And meditating can go. Some people are on for it. Some people are like, I don't want. Meditating is simply being quiet within yourself, finding a way to breathe, to be quiet. If going for a walk, calm
Walking
you.
meditation
Yeah,
through the woods. Nance, I used to get the best downloads from my guides when I would just like be vacuuming my house.
right. Yeah.
Because my mind wasn't really doing anything. I was just doing this, and I would get all these thoughts, and I would go, "Oh, good one, good one." I'd go write it down, and I'd continue to vacuum. So you
Absolutely.
can do that doing dishes, anything that's kind of monotonous that you just, the laundry thoughts can come. I was so guided to come to Tennessee, right to the point of I was teaching an angel class at my house, and I was passing out the books or something, and I heard a guide tell me. Now, I hadn't heard of this guide before, but this guide said, a lady here today is going to buy your house. And I was like, what? And then, I mean, so many circumstances. So, did the lady at my angel class, a student, buy my house? Mm-hmm. No, no
Um,
inspection, full price. I just want this house, Bonnie. And
wow.
my guide told me that.
Wow.
Then, when I was looking for houses here, Nancy, I'm like, where am I going to live? Where am I going to live? I'm not kidding. I was walking out to my car and there was like a big eagle just going like this above my head and it wouldn't leave. And I'm like, okay, okay, you're an eagle. I get it. You're a sign. And that's how I talk to them. Well, my address is Soaring Eagle Way. I was
Wonderful.
packing up my stuff to come, and they said, pay attention to that picture. Now, that picture is in my living room, but it's a brick house with black around the door. I bought a brick house with a black door. You can't make this stuff up. It
No.
was
Oh my God.
so divinely guided that,
Yeah.
you just
I
can't make
remember you moved down and you stayed, you had a little interim place where you stayed before you
an
found your house.
Airbnb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you were still looking and then I remember you saying, oh my, I found the place or spirit found the place for me. How does your,
It's so amazing.
yeah,
There's just more too, but we'd be here all night. But I'm just giving you like an
yeah.
example.
Well, I know.
They can make you look at pictures. They can make you look at birds in the sky. They can talk to you.
Big question here.
Yes.
I know you have a husband, and you have a family that you work with. How do they handle your intuition and your information from your guides?
I think my husband loves it, believe it or not. We've been married 38 years. And he's always this big construction worker or whatever. But
Yeah.
pretty soon, after seeing me give events all over the place and seeing me deliver messages, like he was just like, wow, like this is amazing. And then he started getting up going, my
Oh,
guides told me this, or
good,
my
good, good.
dad told me
Yeah.
to do that.
Oh,
So
nice.
I think he does it still now, and then how this is works, Nancy. I'm a fourth generation medium, but it goes down the line, right? Whether you want to embrace the gift or not, sometimes it's just you inherit it. So if I told you my son had the gift and he does, but he doesn't really want to talk about it too much, but he used to come and watch me do events too. So I know he knows it's the real deal. And my grandkids, they tell me things that are just amazing. So children are very intuitive, right, Nancy? All children
Yes.
are very intuitive until they have to go to school and learn that analytical side of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. It's absolutely, yeah. I would buy that. I believe that. True. I mean, their imaginations are just flying high. Remember, we talked about our guidance can come through our imagination. So yeah, yeah. It's
And that more creative side is open, but they'll see pictures of grandparents or great grandparents, or they'll tell you stories, and it's fun. So,
a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about your kids, Nancy? Did they get your intuition?
Well, they do. I see it in both my kids in different ways. They are not. They don't want to touch it with 10-foot pole at this point. Kind of like I know, and I know it's there. And I've been watching my grandsons as they develop, and I haven't seen anything in particular that's shown up. But I'm watching. I'm watching. I'm excited and see who's going to come up with what. But the imagination, when they come up with these incredible imaginational stories, there's some truth in there. There's a little bit of, yeah, that could be happening right there. So I'll have to wait and see. They want to please mom and dad, and they want to be their own selves. So however that works out for them, it will be what it is. But the best we can do is encourage them to be the use your imagination, have fun, feel your feelings, um, know that there's a bigger world out there than what's inside of yourself. They know that better than we do, I think. So
Yeah, let your heart shine. Let yourself be sensitive.
yeah,
Let yourself feel. Some people want to block off feeling, but let
absolutely.
yourself. That's what we're meant to be and to do, to live this life that, it has emotions, and let them in, but just know you have support.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and just let it unfold. Let your life unfold. Again, put that cynic and that critic up on your right shoulder. You gotta listen to him sometimes, but the peanut gallery sometimes has to leave you alone so you could.
I can tell you something. I don't know if it
Yeah.
sounds like nice. So my mom was a medium, but she would say to me, Bonnie, there's an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, and you better knock that devil off. So sometimes when I let yucky thoughts in, I'm like, Bonnie, you better knock that devil
Yeah, yeah,
off.
get that. Yeah,
So let the angel shine through. And remember, thoughts are energy. So keep positive thoughts. And another thing, if it's coming from the spirit world, it's positive for you.
yeah.
It's never not positive. It might be guidance, but it will be in a positive way.
It will leave you empowered. It will leave you thoughtful. Oh, there's another way, but it won't diminish you. It won't disempower you. This
Right.
connection with spirit. There was not going to tell you you're such a stupid head. It won't minimize your feelings either, because our
No.
feelings. I think this gets confusing for some, but our emotions, our feelings. What is your gut telling you? And your gut's telling you, well, I'm kind of afraid, but I want to do this, but I'm not happy. So it can be all messed up, mixed up in there. And so having your guides help you sort through your feelings, and the ones that come through that are loving and consistent and build you up, or you have a sense of hopefulness, or your or it triggers your imagination. That's your guidance right
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
But
So if we can leave everybody with, build your relationship with your guides. They're always around you. Nancy and I promise you all have guides and your guardian angel. So, who's been with you this whole time. So all you got to do is want that connection.
we are so important that we have at least 6 or 7 guides around us at any time helping us out. That's how important. Don't let your ego get big, but that's how important. That's how precious we are to spirit. That we're here doing some big stuff, And it's not easy to be here sometimes on this earth plane, but we're not alone doing it.
And people say sometimes, wow, this what a time to be alive. But
I
we
know.
signed up for that, and our guides know that.
Yeah, yeah. Did I really agree to go bungee jumping? I don't like bungee. You know what I mean? That kind of when you have to face these things in our lives and you think, did I seriously sign up for this? And your guides will be there. I got you. We got you.
They got you. They know. They
Yeah,
know.
they know.
So
They know. And so that's a beautiful message to leave with everybody. They are relationships worth developing.
definitely, just like relationships here, take developing as well with the spirit world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
And
it's worth
yeah,
it. It's worth it to have that great friend, right, Nancy?
it's worth taking the time to develop it, even though your monkey mind or your angry mind can talk you out of it and tell you it's a waste of time and it'll never last. And that's not real. What's real is I think I have this idea and I think I'm going to follow it through. And look, I can take another step from here. That's real. So, so it's this world is a challenge, and what we're thinking about may not be the truth, but what we're perceiving in a new way is probably the truth.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even you see people struggle, Bonnie. Go from when you see yourself struggle. Anyway,
Everybody struggles because if there was no struggles, we'd be in heaven, right? Where Earth is more of our schoolroom here, where there's
yeah,
struggles, there's challenges. Also, we can learn lessons from them. So,
yeah,
yeah. So remember, if you can learn just to go through them a little bit more smoothly instead of owning everything, that's
right.
when the challenge can move away.
Yeah.
You can say to the universe, I learned that lesson. Thank you. I got it. Let it
Get
go.
out of here. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Don't watch too much of the news, guys. I think that's what we're trying to say. Don't get too good. They know what's going on up there, I
They
promise you.
do. Yeah, they do. Um, and they do, and I keep getting the message it's going to be all right. Don't focus on the story you're being told right now. Focus on the story that you know to be true from your
Just know
experience.
there's higher powers that, probably
Absolutely.
feel the same way you do up there, and they can see the big picture. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to live through things.
Yep. Live through things and then take a step back and know that there's a larger timeline than you're seeing in front of yourself right now. And ask your guides to show you where to go, what to plan for, what to do, and what to focus on. And they will do that.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. 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 So thank you, Bonnie, for coming
Thank
on.
you for
And
having me. I had fun. I always have fun talking to you anyway, Nancy, and that was such a joy. I hope just want to say hi to everyone out there. And Nancy, do you tell everyone how they can get in touch with you?
so, angelscapes.net. You can message me through Facebook if you're watching. Um, you can. I'm on this podcast. Will be on YouTube later. It'll be on my website. So you could, or it'll be on Spotify. So you can listen to that. Checking into angelscapes.net or getting a hold of me through Nancy at angelscapes.net is a way to do it. And I'm available for lots of different things. And I have a whole program, and I have classes coming up for the fall. So get in touch and find out what's going on in the Angelscapes world.
Yeah, we love helping people. That's why we do this, right, Nancy? So
Yeah, yeah, we do.
our
Bonnie's.
pleasure.
Yeah,
It's our pleasure.
yeah. So look for Bonnie Page, and it's the website is Medium Bonnie Page.
Yeah, Bonnie Page Medium, Medium Bonnie Page, both of those
Just
domains.
Google them, Bonnie Page Medium, and
I'm here. I'm here, and I
that's
do
so funny.
readings every day. This is my home office, and I am opening up an office in
Perfect.
Franklin, Tennessee, if anybody's in the area.
Yeah.
Franklin is beautiful. It's called the Hallmark Town.
Oh,
Oh, so amazing. They have tree lightings and pumpkin
oh.
festivals,
You
and
mean
it's
it's in Hallmark's channel? Hallmark.
it should be. It should
Oh
be.
my gosh.
It's so
Well, I have to say, get a hold of Bonnie. She's busy, but she'll always have time for you. So,
yes. So
and so
thank
will
you,
I.
everyone. And
So
thank you for having me,
you're
Nancy.
so welcome. And I want to give everyone the blessings from Spirit, and may your guides speak clearly and precisely to you, and may you always remember to call on them when you need them. So for now, stay safe, stay positive, and know that you're in the grace of God.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.